don't feel alright, I lose my mind. Maybe right now.
Yeah, there we go. Good evening, Jack.
Hello.
So we're here at Behind the Pump podcast. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All our subscribers, viewers, we've got Jack Richardson as a guest today. He is a IFFB pro bodybuilder, online coach, and the beauty about Jack is that he coached himself towards his pro card, and had a chance to share the stage with a legend, Chris Bumstead, at his pro debut. That's awesome. So Jack, what Behind the Pump podcast really is just have a look behind the physique. Who's the person behind the physique? Who's the bodybuilder? Who's the person behind the bodybuilder? So for starters, we just always like to hear from our guests, like where did they start in life and what did them turn to bodybuilding, um, till where they're at right now in their life and their career. So please introduce yourself a little bit and tell your story.
Sure. I'm Jack Richardson. I've been training since I was 16, so that was 13, it's coming up to 13 years ago. And I've been competing since I was 18. You know, I got into the gym through boredom and curiosity. You know, I finished high school. My cousin said to me, "Hey, why don't you spend all your money on a year's membership, and I'll go with you all the time." And he didn't. It was like one session, and I was like, "Ah, cool. I've got nothing to do now, and I've got no money." So I started the gym, and it was, you know, you get the bug, right? You go there. Before that, I was really not a sporty kid or an active individual. It was, you know, I used to forget my kit in physical education, right, on purpose. I didn't think I was ever going to be, but I think I fell into bodybuilding, and what I loved about it was this independency for your own progression, and it was this endless pursuit of progression. You know, that you could just rinse, repeat at your own pace. You know, relying on anyone, and I fell deep into just again being able to progress my lifts, my physique, and I wanted to channel that into something. So a couple of years in, I'm like, okay, what do I do? Bodybuilding, you know, that's sort of taking my eye. I'm looking at Arnold, you know, it's the classic entrance into bodybuilding. I'm looking at the old school physiques. I go
Yeah.
to an expo in the UK and I see all these bodybuilding legends. I saw Phil Heath when he was Mr. Olympia at the time. And I remember seeing a show and I was like, okay, cool. I've got to do this. I've got to do this. So at 18, I competed as a teenager. I did a natural show in the teen category, and I was like, I'm okay to just lose. That's fine. I just want to take part and see what body. I like bodybuilding. I'm a fan of it, but I don't know what it's like to do it and to diet. And it went well. And then it was the hardest diet I'll ever do. You know, it was 42 weeks of over dieting, which is
42 weeks.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
A long fucking
It was
time. Yeah.
like 30,000. He went up to like 20, 30,000 steps because my job was silly active, plus 2 hours cardio every day. Train
Jesus.
6 days a week. And I was by the end of it, having no carbs. And I was on like 1,600 calories. And I felt like shit every day of my life.
Obviously.
100%. Yeah. This was before like the glory of actually, you know, competing and finishing the season. But in my head, I was like, right, yeah, let's do it. I'm up for this. I want to actually get on stage and I want
Yeah.
to finish the crossing line. And from there, after I did it, I finished the season. I was like, holy shit, that was the worst thing ever. Let's do it again. Uh,
That's relatable, man.
yeah. It honestly, I was like, I don't know why. cannot rationalize it, but I was like, I want to do that process again. And I think it's just because I never saw that side to myself where I'm willing to just go to such an extent to achieve something and stick to it, right? And that gave me a lot of confidence in my ability to do things.
Of
And I
course.
was like, I sat back and I thought, okay, I want to make something of this. I want to be like the bodybuilders I'm watching. I want to be on a pro stage. I want to qualify for the Olympia. And since then, it was like, right, I need to make sure everything in life complements that. And there's nothing that gets in the way um, of actually making this possible. And since then, I've just lived for bodybuilding. And that's been my entire adult life is bodybuilding, and it's keeping that passion alive, which yeah, it's like it's been this one massive hyper focus that I've had that has just not gone away.
So like actually from the start on there was, or at least from your first competition on, there was this thought like, okay, I'm going to be a pro. No matter what, I'm going to be that.
Yeah, and it was like I want a career in this. And
Yeah.
it wasn't this it wasn't like an arrogance of I'm going to be a pro because I'm fucking amazing. I actually told myself I'm like, and I got told this from people, I was like, you don't have good genetics.
No.
I told myself that, and I was like, but I still want this thing. So that means I have to make sure I work harder than everyone. I tick all the boxes, and I think of more boxes to tick off where I could be more diligent. I need to think as smart as I can and be as consistent in hopes that I could beat these freaky motherfuckers. Right? That was my mindset as a teenager. I was like, okay, cool. And I'm at this point looking at Dorian Yates and stuff like that, and that was my standard of right. Okay, that's how people train. That's the work ethic that
Yeah.
I believed everyone had because I was so new to this and everything was so novel to me. I was looking at these obviously great champions and thinking, right, everyone works as hard as Ronnie Coleman as Dorian, and if I don't, then the competition is going to beat me because I don't have the genetics to take shortcuts.
Yeah.
That was the type of mindset I had towards going to be pro. And it was like, no matter how many times I fail, I just got to go until I succeed.
How
That
many
was the type of
how
mindset.
many shows did it take you to get to your pro card?
So I did a couple of seasons as a natural,
Yeah.
and
Oh, really?
then yeah, and then I did one season assisted, and that was like seeing where I was at. I knew from the first show I wasn't ready, and I did a couple of shows after that just to practice, and then I pulled out the season because I was like, okay, cool, I know that I'm not as standard, and that was about that was one season, and then I had a couple of years off. I was like, I don't want to compete until I'm ready, and then from there it was, I did just that. Like next time I competed, it was this run through of I got the qualifier, I did the regional, I
Yeah.
did the pro qual, and then I got the overall at that show. But it was I took long breaks between my seasons because and I'm doing a similar thing now. I want to compete when I'm ready to get the goal. That doesn't mean that I'm not, I'm willing to lose as well. It's that balance between that. I'm willing to go there, lose, and go, okay, that teaches me where I'm at
Yeah,
and
yeah.
how far I've got to go. So it's not like I'm never going to compete until I could definitely win because you can never confirm that.
You
You
have
can
to be
never
sure of
guarantee
that.
that
No,
shit.
but I understand. Like it's okay to lose, but you just want to take your time to improve on what you need to improve on when you took that L, so to say.
For sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
absolutely. Yeah, no, I get that.
100%. It's I want
Those
to
those first
yeah,
shows was it when you were 18, right? Or
yeah.
17, 18. So how long were you training before you stepped on stage for the first time?
That was 2 years. That was
So two
yeah, two
years, and
years.
then And that was self-coached already, or it was what's with somebody with
Oh no,
crazy
I
diets?
had a yeah, I had a coach at that point. But this is when online coaching was still a very new thing. It's a
Yeah.
very new concept. And the person I was working with at the time, I was like one of their first clients ever. So it was completely new. There was a lot of novelty to everything. And obviously I didn't know anything about anything. I was like, what's a deficit, right? I thought to get in shape and prep, this is me being a kid. I was like, okay, I'm just going to do some Rocky montage shit. I'm just going to go and jog until I'm lean, and I'm just going to not eat carbs.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just, and then I learned about bodybuilding. I'm like, I'm a fucking idiot. That's not that's not what bodybuilding is at all. But yeah, that prep was a fantastic prep because, like I said, I don't think a prep is ever going to be as hard as that again. And that's like cool because I can't ever complain, no? Because if I'm finding a part of this process hard, I'm not going to let an 18-year-old version of me who's never bodybuilt before outwork me. That's embarrassing, right? So that means that, that guy, I've just got that's my bare minimum. It's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
hardest
Correct.
prep I've done in regards to the work ethic I can put out.
Yeah, I can relate to that, man. I think my first prep, I only had two preps behind me, but the first one, I think maybe, and maybe it's for everybody. The first one is the hardest, of course. But like my first one it was a hell. It was a hell, man. And for some reason, the same as you, like that was fucked up. Let's do it again.
Yeah,
And then this last prep, so Samo and I both did the same shows in December, the Ironman here in the Netherlands, and the day after the Winning Bona Classic. But this prep, it was immaculate. Um,
yes,
it, I can remember a single day where I was hungry or I've got cravings. There's only one night where I had bad sleep, and that's when the fun stuff was introduced into the cycle. And other than
yeah,
that, my sleep was immaculate. My body responded to everything we did basically. So we basically didn't have to do anything different. Um, so that was great. So from the other side, the first prep, it could only get better, but from now on, can it get any better as well? Maybe not.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, and I think you know what to expect,
yeah.
so you
It
handle it
gets
different.
for sure. Yeah, you get experience. You know how to deal with hunger. You
Yeah,
know, like the little minutiae of the mindsets that you go to just sort of find a place of like, okay, cool, I can deal with this. So is a skill in itself, the mindset. But also you just do it better, you bodybuild better. You realize that you don't have to diet until you're dead to get into shape, right? That you actually still need to eat some food. And then you can't just do hours of cardio because you actually need to be able to recover. It's that
yeah,
then
exactly.
you learn the other side of the balance because that was a big thing that changed for me in bodybuilding was I used to love over dieting. Not on purpose, but
No, but
apparently I just used to love doing it. And I'm like, okay, what happens if I stop over dieting? Apparently, it looks better
way better.
and it's
Yeah.
easier and it's fun. It's fun to not diet yourself to the point you're emaciated and you can actually not look like a child. So that's something I learned about bodybuilding over the years.
Yeah, I
A
think
lot
that's
easier.
that's similar for me indeed. Okay, so your first show you had a coach and you started coaching yourself after that, or when did that happen? When did you make that switch
So
from coach to self-coaching?
So I spent a bit of time coaching myself in the off season before the 2022 season, and then I worked with someone for that, and then after that 22 season, again, it could have gone better. I overdieted a little bit, like I say,
Yeah.
and this is where I was like, okay, I'm going to coach myself and just try things out. Obviously, I'm coaching people, and I got to a point as well where I was seeing what I was doing with coaches, and I was seeing what I'm doing with my clients, and I felt a bit of a hypocrite because I'm not doing what I'm telling clients to do. I'm doing what I'm telling the coach to do, and I'm getting jealous of my own clients' results because they're making good results. Like,
Really?
damn,
So you're
you know?
basically sabotaging yourself.
Yeah, and I'm like, why the fuck am I not practicing what I'm preaching here? You know,
Yeah.
and I'm like, there was an opportunity. I could learn more. I could trial things out, and I could practice what I'm preaching and lead from the front.
Yeah.
So it was really, yeah, mainly through past 2022, and I worked with some very briefly, and then I was like, I'm just going to coach myself. I did the 2024 season where I became pro, and I remember the the one of the people I was working with were like, come back to me when your head falls off. That's what they said, and I was like, well, I'm definitely good to do this myself then. I've got to, right? And I made sure I post my shots pretty much on a weekly basis, just so I could desensitize myself from the fear of people judging,
Yeah.
or I could just put myself out there. It's like one of the issues, well, not the issue, one of the things that you can have a bit of a mental block of, oh, I don't want people to think that I'm getting this wrong or to judge me, or but I thought if I'm just taking that out there, I don't care if people think I look shit or whatever. I'm just going to post it every week. I'm just going to be honest. That's going to keep me accountable. I'm writing out, so I'm able to rationalize what I'm doing whilst I'm writing it out, and I'll put my predictions. And then if it happens again, it's great. And if I fuck up, then I'm holding myself responsible, right? And from there, yeah, I just thought I'm going to make sure I do this because I feel like I'll be a better coach, better bodybuilder, and also a better person if I can keep myself from losing my head and actually get the mission done and keep myself objective really throughout this.
Did you have any cues or mind tricks to keep yourself objective? Because I know that I know for a fact I could not coach myself. I'm way too emotionally attached to the progress for that.
Yeah, I think, well, what helped me, and this is going to sound a little bit counterintuitive, but becoming detached from my physique. Uh, being able to look in the mirror and go, I look shit. But that was from an emotional place. It's objective. Like, I look shit. This is what I need to do. I'm going to do these things. Or I can look at myself and go, okay, I look good, but we need to do these things. I wasn't constantly checking myself in the mirror. That's the temptation. It's like, I'm going to look at myself with the check-ins. I'm going to stop having so many opinions, and just keep these things to myself. And yeah, there is going to be that. I still had that struggle to balance an emotional mindset with an objective mindset. That was still there, and that was part of the challenge. And when I was in that place, of course, deep in prep, this is where I would literally say to myself, I'd look at myself in the mirror and go, right, this is the test, and you're going to pass it. This right here is the test, right? That's what you're doing this for, is this test. So cool, that's what you bargained for. Now you're here, so fucking suck eggs, deal with it. And I found what makes it a lot easier is what makes prep easier is minimizing the room for error. You give yourself enough time. You don't do any drastic shit when you're trying to peak. You plan your shows. You do that. And you really try to make what you're doing as little guesswork as possible. Very easy to predict. Because when you're trying to constantly change things and do some wacky shit, then you're going to be all over the place, and you're like, oh shit, I've fucked that up. I've got to fix this and then this. And if you're trying to rush it as well, then it makes it very easy to lose your head. But if you're ahead and it's going smooth, you don't have to do anything drastic. Pretty much like the last prep you described, if you can create that environment, where there's a nice amount of stability, that makes it so much easier to yeah, to not worry about it. You don't want to give yourself the worry of, I'm not going to be in shape. I'm not holding. I've got only these few
No,
weeks
but
left.
I know and if I speak for myself, like I I had those moments as well. Like, am I doing good right now? And at that moment, um, I was I was really held by the fact that my coach is very straightforward, and I
Yeah,
know that whenever I look shit, he will tell me I look shit, and whenever I look good, he will tell me I look good, and he's very
yeah,
pragmatic in that. Like, this is where we're at, this is where we need to go, this is what we're going to do. So when I would tell him like, yo, so for me, I got like pretty quick, lean, hard from the back, but from the front, I stay soft for a little longer than from
mhm,
the back. So I was worried about that, and it really helped me that I had a coach there to keep my mind straight and focused on the goal in that way, and where I
100%.
probably would have upped the cardio myself, and like you said, down the calories and the carbs
Yeah,
to get in that midsection, you know?
100%. And listen, mate, I did those things. Did those
Yeah,
things
okay,
during
yeah.
that
It's
prep.
trial
I
and error.
I did those things, and I had to go. Little bastard, you fucked it. You're gonna fuck it by doing this. Leading up to the pro qual. So the things that I said that is going to make your mindset easier,
Yeah,
that's me saying for the future, because I fucked it a little bit with my approach when I was coaching myself. I like, this will make it easier next time, because I did my qual and I was like, this is great. My regional, okay, this is cool. Low pressure, because all you got to do is turn up.
yeah,
And then the pro qual, I was supposed to do like 5 weeks after, but everyone was like, hey, do this in 2 weeks' time in the UK. And I really wanted to compete on home soil for the card. I was like, okay, cool. I've got to do that prep, condense it down. So I was like, okay, I'm going to cut my food quite drastically and do shitloads of expenditure. And I went and did it, and I was fucked. I was like passing out in the middle of the day, but I was like, cool, sounds what I've got to do. And then I looked at my physique after a week, properly assessed it. I lost 10 pounds in a week from being pretty close to stage lean. And then I looked at myself, I was like, shit, I look so much worse. I look like a child because I just flattered out so much.
yeah. I can imagine.
Like, cool, right. That's not good. You compare the photos. Yeah, I look like a child. I can't do this show looking like this. So I've got to fix it. I'm not going to pull out the show. I'm going to make myself do it. Right. So that means I need to find a solution. So from there, I was like, I need to get a lot of food in. And I started eating pizzas. I started eating all types of stuff. And through that, because it was such a wacky rush approach, I was like, okay, now this is a bit of a fucking gamble, isn't it? You know, and I had to have a conversation with myself and go, right, you need to do this in a way that doesn't lead to you having a binge and justify having a binge. But you also need to get these calories in. So you
Yeah,
need to open the tap, eat the food, and close the tap when it's time, and then compete. I just, I did that. I did that. I left it a couple of days for it to just sit. And I was able to put that 10 pounds back on, but look leaner. And then, you know, thankfully the show went well. But next time, I won't be trying to rush what was supposed to be 5 weeks into two, and that's like a big lesson, because that was like where it was um, the biggest fight to keep an objective state. Because
yeah,
one, I was fucked, and two, trying to do a million decisions in one go. It just, thankfully, the gamble paid off. But I know that if you're trying to secure a goal, an outcome, that's not going to be the best way to do that, for sure. And it's, again, coming back to practicing what you preach as well. because I wouldn't go with a client and go, "Hey, let's change the show dates to 3 weeks earlier." You know,
Well,
you
unless you're like really ready for it at that point,
yes,
of course.
100%.
Yeah, yeah. It needs some real good fucking self-reflection and some self-control to do it, man. I admire it, man. Like I said, I don't think I could do it, but you know, maybe I could, but I
It's
don't know, man.
it's something to like if you ever do it or if you ever consider it, it's something you've got to go, "Hey, this is going to be hard. I am going to find this hard.
Yeah,
I've got to be up for the challenge, and I've got to be okay for the fact if I fuck it up, you know." But this is, when we start everything, when we start any process, or we start doing something for the first time, you're not going to have the best crack at it. But at least from doing that prep to that extent, I'm able to pick up things that I could do differently next time from there, and I would probably have a better, more resilience through that to keep objective. And then if I did that again, it's what we were saying earlier about your first time bodybuilding.
yeah.
It's going to be like, holy shit, what's this? I'm really hungry. I really want to eat. And, I'm thinking about cake after the show. And now you're not thinking about the cake so much. You're thinking about the objective, right? You just, your mindset sort of matures from just being exposed to the process.
And you're still coaching yourself right now?
Yeah. Yeah. There's this side of it that I also want to, again, I do want the challenge. I
Yeah.
do. And I genuinely believe that there's going to be this lovely accountability of the person I'm going to be to just keep my mind objective. If I can do that, it's going to have a great crossover in life, and keep myself in that place. And it's just trying to do this process in a way where I can look back and go, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm glad I did that in that way. But I also acknowledge that could be a detriment, because again, there is absolutely a benefit of having a coach because they keep you objective. They keep you in line, and all you have to do is execute, and they're doing all the stressing and worrying, and you've just got to, eat your vegetables and go to sleep and go to the gym. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Just don't think about it, just execute.
Yeah. And that's something maybe further down the line I may consider it. I'm open-minded, but for now I'm enjoying coaching myself, and I like the idea of qualifying for the Olympia self-coached. I think that would be pretty cool.
That's crazy. Like most guys, let me talk for myself. The last 2 or 3 weeks, I'm just brain dead. My coach was just in Compton for my last show, and I was just tell me what the fuck I need to do, and I need to chill, because if I go to stress, body responds with more water, gym sessions, slow down everything. So you're like, we're gonna say you're like the extra challenge.
Yeah, I mean, I do like the extra challenge for sure. And yeah, God, it was very hard whilst I was in a brain dead state, because I'm like trying to do this complex thing, but also I was doing very stupid things at the same time. I'd put my scales to weigh my food on the stove, switch the stove on, and walk away. And then, like I'm in a trance, and I'm like,
yeah.
Do you want me to tell you the funny thing about that is, right? And this is what, I probably needed someone to just take care of me at that point, right? And not let me in the kitchen, because I was like, oh shit, I can't believe we've done that. I almost burned the flat. And I go get some more scales because I'm like, I need to weigh my food. I do it again 2 days later. It's something I've never done in my life. I've done twice in quick succession.
Yeah.
And I was like, for fuck's sake,
That's
I need some carbs, man.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you take us, like we spoke about self-coaching and diet wise, but I'm really curious to know the training wise, because if we see your training on Instagram, you're training hard, heavy, with intention. Was that always from the beginning like that?
So when I fell in love, like I say, when I first got into bodybuilding, I was looking at people like Dorian Yates and Ronnie Coleman, but I think I'm just a bit fucked in the head, man. I'm going to be honest, because I would go, we all
Yeah,
are. If
yeah. I
you're a
mean, yeah,
bodybuilder,
yeah,
how
exactly.
Bodybuilding
can you not be?
101.
Yeah, we literally, yeah, this sport is full of people who've fucked.
Yeah,
But
basically.
I remember it's being new to the gym, and this is how I could tell like there was a different type of mentality because I'd be going with people who are new to the gym, my friends. Um, and they would train, and I'd be like, okay, let's do the leg press, and let's also drop set every set. Let's go down. Let's build up, and then let's build down. Let's do that for every single set. It was just like stupid. It's like, how can we fuck ourselves up? And then I worked with someone, and they did really high volume. Like I say, I was trained 6 days a week, and it was like 5 to 7 sets per exercise, and it'd be like silly high volume. And that was more of a bro split, like a old school split.
Yeah.
And then I started working with someone else, and then that brought me to, because I was started off training the high intensity, high volume. That sort of brought me to high intensity, low volume. More of like the JP style, the Dorian Yates style, right?
Yeah. So high
And
frequency, low volume.
yes, that's the one. And that's what I've done for the longest time. For the majority of my career, that's what I've done. And, I've loved it because that's where you can pour out as much as you possibly can in training.
Yeah, it's a
You
bit like
know,
duck crab training. So
yeah, well, for sure. And it's what I like about it is obviously you're standardizing everything. So you can see yourself progress. And the crazy part of it is I don't logbook, and I haven't done it for the majority of the time of the bodybuild.
I
I
was
literally,
I was about to ask actually. Yeah, but
yeah, because a lot of people who do this style of training do logbook, right? And it's not,
I did actually, and I stopped doing it because for me it worked perfectly fine for a while, to a certain extent that I actually got emotionally attached to those numbers, and
yeah,
where, like you say, standardizing your sets, it's very important, and that began to fade away because I
yeah,
needed that extra rep. And
yeah,
also, like, I lost having fun in training, because if I did not get that extra rep, for example, on the
yeah,
first exercise, on the first movement, my training was fucked. My whole day was fucked.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I was done with that shit. So
yes,
I stopped with that. Started later on a little bit again, and when I started prep, I just thought like, no, we're not going to do that, man. I know when I progress, I know when I get the right stimulus. Just make sure you standardize those sets and go till failure, and then you're good, basically.
that's it, man. That's it. And that was very similar to myself. I think I lasted about a year logbooking, and I got to a similar place where I was like, my execution's going out the window,
Yeah, of
and I'm like not getting a rep, so my session must be shit, and that's not the case. It's not the case. It really isn't.
course not.
But I got into a more simple mindset. I just like strip it back. Let's keep the fun, and because the intensity is there, right? I know how to train until I the muscle has failed. The logbook's great at keeping you accountable for your intensity. The intensity is there for myself. So all I need to do is go to failure with good form. I'll film the set, and if it happens, I'll go up. Cool. If not, I've literally done my best. I can't do any more than that.
And
And
you
that
still got
keeps,
stimulus.
yeah, and that keeps the training fun. And it's just making sure that the environment outside of training ensures that you progress within it. But yeah, I love it because that training style, because you give everything to a set, and you're not wondering, oh, could I give them more? Because you've literally gone until you can't do any more.
Yeah, yeah,
You
exactly.
know?
Yeah.
So it keeps it fun. And I
And
just like,
yeah, for me, I'm just still figuring out which way of training is the best of me because as Robin know and as everybody here knows, I like to just fuck shit up. I like to
yeah,
just I wake up in the morning and before anything else, I think about the first exercise and what I wanted to do. So, for example, the last off season before the season, I
mm,
was really loving like dumbbell presses, and my gym
yeah,
goes up
man.
to 80 kilos because I was the
Okay,
only one that touching them. So at one moment, I did 80 kilos dumbbell press incline for 15, like the 80s.
that's great. That's
And
great.
then I was like, okay, what now? So I switched over to bench press. And I was getting stronger, and I'm more fan of the flat. So I do flat and incline in the same day, one Smith
Yeah,
and one like free barbell. But I was getting so strong, and I was feeling some little niggle here, and then
yeah,
okay, fair enough. I trained, and every time I warmed up good, it was getting so crazy. At one time, I was doing 200 flat for 7, and then I did, oh, it's for 7. Now let's put another 20 on. So 220 for 3
yeah,
or 4. And that was the moment I didn't fuck my chest up, but if you use it too much and too much force, too much weight over
yeah,
time,
yeah.
you experience a lot of shit. So now everybody is
Yes.
like, I'm only just turned 24, but I'm feeling old as fuck. I mean, my knee is old. I have a
Yeah.
little chest nickel. So how do you manage that? Because if I
Yeah.
see you on your training, your Instagram, you're training balls to wall.
Yeah, man. Okay, so that's a very good point. So you said that you're finding where you're at in training, what style you like, and I think the important thing to know with that is, you'll hear like a low volume, high intensity, or a bro split, or different types of training style, but you can mix and match, right? And I think it's important to do what exactly you've done and just love training and go in and just smash the fuck out of it. And eventually you then will automatically have these parameters that give more rules and structure to your training. For example, you now know that if you are at a strength now that if you bench press, you're going to fuck your chest up. So that means you're going to be looking at training in a different way. Do I now need to start doing different exercises? Because you will need to evolve with your training. It'd be great to just stay and do the fucking deadlift squats and fucking bench. It would be great to just get super strong, but you get to a strength where that becomes unproductive. And then you start, again, these things start creating parameters. And then obviously you look at yourself as a bodybuilder and go, what parts do I need to bring up? Okay, cool. Now that's going to add to my training there. It's like, okay, I need to take away from this body part so I can pour into that and recover. So you're then molding your own training style, and that's where the individual comes from. Now, how to stop feeling like an older man is something I'm trying to explore. But
Still,
uh,
still to be
and
found out.
yes, but what I do is I try to keep myself accountable, right? Because I can't lift in the way that I used to when I was younger, because I would just try to lift as heavy as I fucking can, and I would allow for some scrappy reps and to get the weight up. And now I can't do that, because if I do that, I will rip some shit up. That's because there's one going to be, yes, more wear and tear, there's a bigger training age, but two, there's again more strength, right? The stronger you are, the more you're able to output, the more risk there is. So what I will do is when my joints and things are feeling fucked up, I will then just reset and go through a period where I pull the weight down and I go super clean with the form. I just try to feel it more, and then I'll work back up to the weight I was at. But this time it's a lot cleaner. My joints feel great, and I'm there ready to push back up past that. And that just keeps me accountable to sort of going, whoop, It doesn't mean I train like a pussy. It just means that instead of focusing on load, I'm focusing on the execution, but I'm still going to failure. And it's when my joints are telling me to fuck off a bit, that's when I'll go, okay, cool. Maybe we'll just go for a 12 to 15 rep range. I'll add some pauses in. Great. And then I feel great. I'm now stronger. I've able to keep myself accountable to not ego lifting everything. And that's my compromise. It's like if I do that, then yeah, I'll allow myself to train with a bit more oomph, and maybe go for a 2 rep set occasionally and just fucking feel where my strengths are. And it's trying to keep myself accountable with these rules that I put in place as I, grow through training. And you speak to a lot of people, they go through this cycle where their training just evolves as you go on. It's not just, I'll pick this training style and I'll train this way until I'm dead. You've got to change things up. But you still have a large element of preference with that. It doesn't mean you have to, because this is what I hate seeing, especially nowadays, is people are just like, I've got to do this style of training because it's the most optimal, but I hate it. You've got to still love the fuck out of your training. That's how you got to be training hard.
Even the most optimal training style is not optimal if you hate it.
Yeah, exactly, because
That's the whole point.
You won't stick to it and you won't apply that intent.
Exactly.
It's just like you just said, you're loving dumbbells and you got strong as fuck at them. And then you did that and you're like, right, what next? I'll go to a bench. You get strong as fuck as that, right? What's going to help with that is you fucking want to. It's the desire. And you're loving the exercise. You're thinking about the exercise before you're even in the gym. And that person's going to make a lot more progress than someone who's come in with 50 cuffs and fucking 17 bands and spending half an hour to set up a tricep
Doing a fucking foam roller around.
Foam roller.
Yeah. Do you want me to tell you what's funny about that? That when people are doing that with a foam roller on their arm, there is no one who is big that is able to do that exercise.
No, exactly.
And that's the irony of it.
Yeah.
It's literally as soon as you get big enough, that you've got muscle, you can't do that exercise. That exercise is literally limited for smaller people.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing when I saw it last night on TikTok. I was like, well, the only reason your fucking arm fits in that foam roller is because you're skinny.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
come on. It's funny because it's basically I was talking about this with a friend of ours. Trying to be optimal is not optimal. Being optimal is optimal, and being optimal is way different than actual optimal. So
Yeah. I think being optimal is a lot of it is efforts.
yeah,
And it's a good mindset. It's you're nailing. A lot of people are focusing on the finer details, not the broad strokes, right?
yeah,
The broad strokes are so simple. You don't need to be, overthink that shit. You need to train hard, progressively with good form. You make sure you recover, sleep well, eat in a surplus, and make sure you don't shit yourself. And when you're doing it, and then be consistent. That is it. You don't need to really overthink that process too much, because then you'll get into a state of paralysis by analysis, over analysis.
yeah,
And I've been guilty of it. When I'm going into my training. I'm trying to cue myself and align myself, and I'm like, I'm literally making myself more injured here because I'm so tensed up in the movement.
yeah,
Whereas if I go in, I'm just like, I fly. I just feel it. I flow with it. I feel a lot more better. And I perform a lot better as well. And it's like you say, it's trying to be optimal. No, it's being optimal.
exactly. Yeah, no, I had the same thing, and so I've had some issues with some tendonitis in my delt area and around my scapula. So I had to kind of relearn how to move that around. So at first it was my left that was nagging me. Got that fixed, had some cues in my mind, and it worked. But then I was so focused on that left side
Yeah.
it basically moved to the right side. And
Yeah.
then one time I was training with my coach and we're doing the prime pull down, and he was just like, "Don't think about it, just pull, just
Yeah.
just pull." And I did it, and it was perfect. It was
Yeah.
it was perfect, and I was like,
Uh,
"Wow,
Absolutely bang
I'm
on.
just gonna stop thinking about it and
Yeah. Yeah.
just fucking pull that shit."
Absolutely bang on, mate. And I think that's, again, it's this paralysis of over analysis. And
Yeah,
I see a lot of great bodybuilders fall into it because I think this is the benefit of having a lack of information uh, 10, 20 years ago is you're not going to go into this rabbit hole of, right, okay, this has been backed up, so this must be right. And there will be, a good rationale behind these things, but then you can just do it to death to the point where it's not productive. And that is a big issue because you now have people who in the first years of training, they're at that point of overthinking, and they haven't even had any training experience to get
yeah,
to
exactly.
you know have passion or even learn how to train hard, really, and it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean that they're basically thinking about the details before having the basics into place.
Oh man, and I'll have kids on TikTok telling me that I don't know how to train. It's crazy, and there's if they do have a profile picture,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So it's always the non-profile pictures.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and if they do, they're in like the first years of training. There's nothing
yeah,
wrong with being in your first years of training, but fuck me, man, I wouldn't ever think about doing that. When I'm starting training, I'll pick a guy who's like over 10 years deep into training and go, "You're doing that wrong."
yeah,
And any results you've got, and this is another thing when I say, "Hey, I have got something to show for what I'm doing." I got steroids, genetics. I'm like, what the fuck? That's such cope.
yeah.
It's
But
crazy, mate.
there's so much information online right now, and when we started, I think you're 29, if I made the right calculations.
Almost. I'm 28. I'm very
Okay,
close to
okay.
29 though.
And for Samuel as well, even though he's a bit younger, I'm turning 31 in 2 weeks. But there's so much information online right now,
There's
especially when you and I started training. There wasn't. We had to deal with bodybuilding forums,
hmm,
which was basically your neighborhood bodybuilder telling you to take 700 max of tren,
yeah,
and 200 micrograms of clen to get lean,
yeah, man.
and kickstart with Dianabol and Winstrol and whatever.
Doesn't
Yeah.
Yeah,
sound bad though.
so that's the information we had, and
The bulkers, the cutters.
exactly.
Yeah.
And right now there's so much research on everything. Like you can't
Yeah.
name it or there's research on it. And the thing is like the researchers are also never like on real bodybuilders. It's also just your average Joe where the research
Yeah.
is based on. So it's almost always misinterpreted by the reader in
For
that case.
sure. For sure. Yeah. And again, this is theory. It's
Yeah.
theory. A lot of it is theory, and you've got to put it into practice. And these forums were great because it was anecdotal.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of as you've just rightly pointed out, a lot of these studies on bodybuilders. There aren't many studies on 300-pound freaks, right? There isn't. And the rules are
No.
different for those people. The rules are different for
Yeah,
very
absolutely.
fucking muscular people. They have to train different, you know? People look at someone like Branch Warren and go, oh, he's training sloppy. That guy's on the muscle
Yeah.
every fucking rep. He's catching it, right? It
Yeah.
looks sloppy, but he's so skilled with his training. He can train like that. He doesn't need to take it slow or be really pumpy squeezy because he fucking is very skilled with keeping it on the muscle. Um, and again, the rules are just different, right? And this is
Absolutely.
why you have kids who don't know any better. They're looking at bodybuilders and going, "Hi, you're just a dumb fucking steadhead," and because you're not doing it in the way that this textbook says. And it's like, no, you don't know. You don't know. You haven't spent enough time to try out your approach, to try out their approach, to compare and see how the rules change as you progress.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
you would have seen with your own training, your own physique, and your approach changes as you
Yeah,
add muscle.
absolutely.
It's like what we just spoke about with training.
Yeah,
Um, how I train used to train, I've had to alter that now, you know, so that I can continue training and hit the muscle that I want to hit. Because if I wanted to just carry on training how I wanted to train, I'd still be fucking drop setting deadlifts, you know,
yeah, yeah,
when I was like
exactly.
18. So yeah, there's a balance because obviously you want to be mindful of your training.
Yeah,
You want to find ways to improve it. But at the end of the day, you just got to get it done. You know, you've just got to actually do it and do it to a great extent consistently. That's the main thing that's going to drive progress.
great,
Certainly.
great. Maybe it's time for some questions from our viewers. Um, so first question we got is, and I think it's basically answered already at the beginning of our recording, but what was the hardest moment in all of your bodybuilding career?
Yeah, I mean, the first prep definitely hard.
Yeah,
There's some controversies outside of, some adversities outside of that as well. And I find bodybuilding can be simple and easy. It's life outside of that and trying to maintain bodybuilding through it that makes it hard.
yeah,
Um, but another one that was quite difficult is having those long seasons off in between for the goal and not knowing where I'm at and trying to gauge it. And like I would go do a season like the one in 22 and it didn't go amazingly. I'm like, fuck, shit. Okay, I've got to spend another couple of years, but I don't even know if I'm a good bodybuilder. So this is like a big gamble that I'm going for a goal that is not guaranteed and is years in advance. That's hard, right? Because you've got to keep that passion alive throughout it. Um, but it makes it a lot so much more worth it when you bleed for a goal, right? And I think a lot of bodybuilders could just relate to that. Is because of how long this process is.
yeah.
You know, if you want to get your card, unless you've got decent genetics, and you're looking roughly around about a decade to get that card, if not longer, if you're trying to be a pro. And that's a reasonable length of time to be looking at it. And
Yeah.
this is again why we're fucked to the head because who does that? Who who goes, hey, I want to do this thing. 10 years down the line, I want to be a professional at it, right? It's hard. It's hard to have that mindset. But this is what I tell kids who come to me and they're like 18, 19, and like, I'm gonna be pro in 2 years. I'm like, if you don't get it then, would you still want it? Like, and you wait another 2, 3 years and you don't get it then, would you still want it? Well, the mindset you've got to have is you've still got to be hungry for it. That's how you get it.
I
Because
think
years down the
I
line.
think the thing with that is also that like these youngsters they see guys like you, and they think like, oh, like he just started coaching himself and he's a pro within a year or within 2 years. But what they don't see is that is like you said, there's like a decade of work in front of those few years. So that
100%.
overnight
Yeah.
success took you 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they only see that overnight success, so to say, without having falling in love with the process at first. Because for me, I never started training with the mindset of I want to be a bodybuilder.
Mm.
I started training, got bit by that bug, like you said, and from there on, like kind of rolled into the idea of doing a bodybuilding show. And even then, it took me like 6 years to even get on that stage with a lot of breaks in between because I looked like literal shit my first show, um, in my opinion, right now.
Most of us did. Most of us did, bro.
Yeah, I mean, back then I thought I was the shit, but like right now I think I look like shit. So
Yeah.
two different shits. But yeah, you see that a lot with young guys. What actually takes me right to the next question, because you're a coach as well, and I figure you get a lot of questions either about nutrition, training, what we talked about, or PEDs. Like, what is the biggest mistakes you see at starting bodybuilders, young bodybuilders with either three of those?
It's a lack of patience,
Yeah,
really. Again, it's not understanding the gravity of how fucking long this is and how monotonous this process is, right? And you see a lot of this is why I am thankful that I didn't succumb to the temptation to start gear. You know, when I first started bodybuilding, you know, the temptation is always going to be there, but it allowed me to understand the training and nutrition side first and how you get progress from that. And the trainings, the PEDs are the assistants. But you see a lot of, I mean, you see fucking everyone talk about Trent and they glamorize it. They make jokes about it like kids do. And that's like, you know, dangerous. You know, it's all fun and games,
yeah,
but when someone starts taking training, they lose their head, um, you know, and they really have a bad time, then obviously that's not great. I think that's it. It's the lack of patience, and people go in and they try to force growth with loads of drugs, loads of food, and just be too extreme. It's understanding there's a balance and act with it. You've got to pace yourself. It'd be great to go balls to the wall and get the results quick. You got to, but you more doesn't mean more. It's you got to consider longevity because the way I put it to people is, I think you can fuck yourself health wise with food as well. You know, um, you don't want to be small with a bunch of health problems,
yeah.
needing to put on this much size to be great.
At
You
least
don't.
be big if you have
Uh,
health
yeah,
problems.
exactly, mate.
Rather without health problems, of course, but
Yeah,
like if you have them, then just at least be big, you know?
yeah. Imagine having heart failure and you're under 200 pounds. What a joke, you know?
That would be like, yeah, like if that heart failure would have killed me, I would probably do it myself.
Yeah, yeah, right. But people are like people are gonna run into that. It's like
Yeah,
you if you blow your fucking load when you first start, you will get to a point where you need this much size to achieve the goal, and you run into health issues. And to get to there, you've got to like either sign a death warrant or take a big long fucking break.
yeah.
Whereas if you pace yourself, the guy who paces himself is just going to fucking overtake you, go, wee, fuck you, and then have a great time, you know, and with his working penis.
Yeah, and I think what a lot of people don't understand is that and which comes back to like having patience. The progress is never linear.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's not linear. You just got to work, literally just emphasize training, nutrition, and recovery. Right? That's the main thing you want to emphasize is just be patient, man.
Yeah,
And the best way to be patient is to fall in love with the process. That's it, man. Because if you're so excited to just go into the gym, train, eat your food, and you want to go to bed because you know you're gonna fucking grow from the sleep, right? And you're so excited to just rinse, repeat, then I promise you, you will then go, holy shit, it's been 6 months and wow, oh my God, I'm this much up. I'm look at these photos. Rather than going, oh, I need to be this big by fucking next week, you
yeah.
know,
Just
that's
enjoy
you're
the
gonna have a bad
process.
time. And again, just don't compare, stop comparing. And that's a big one for I think all of us, you know, especially when we first get into this. It's very easy to do. There are people that will work on their physique very hard and get great results and feel worse about their physique. Like that makes no sense, right? you're the best you've ever looked, but you feel the worst about yourself,
Yeah.
about how you look. As soon as I caught myself doing that, I'm like, you're silly. You may as well never gone to the gym because you used to be comfortable taking your top off in places and shit like that when you were a skinny little bitch.
Yeah.
And now like I'm relatively the best I've ever looked. And I don't want to show my physique. And I'm conscious
Real.
about
It's
That's
so
real.
fucking relatable, man. Like,
yeah.
for
God
real,
damn.
man. Like
Yeah.
I just rather cover up right now instead of. I mean,
You
and
want to
when
go
I
to the beach? You want to go to the beach? No, 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 no. It's off season.
hell
It's off
no, like
season.
Yes.
I'll go to the beach, but I'm wearing this exact same sweater.
Yeah, man. And it's like that you got to catch yourself, man. When it gets to that point, it's like
Yeah,
think about it. If
right.
you go into the gym, you're most likely going to be in better shape, especially if you're a bodybuilder and you fucking live for the
Yeah,
literally creating an aesthetic. You're you're most likely going to be in better shape than the majority of the people around you. That's cool, right? But also, people don't give a fuck, really. Not as much as you
true.
think they do.
It's true. Yeah, it's
They
really is
don't.
true.
That's
No
true.
one's
But
judging your
also,
physique as much as
also
you.
now with the I think you can see when you're training in the gym and you see new guys. I mean, I'm training now I'm now 24, training for 6 years, I think, 6.5, something like that. And when I started, I know like the day of yesterday, I was just going on a bike with my tank top even on when I get out of out of the house, and then get a pump, and then from moment one look at myself, and then after some time, after some years, you're getting more covered up and more covered up. And now I'm not like
Yeah,
I don't want to even do the pump cover up like a big.
yeah.
But now
But
with gasp and all that kind of clothes, I think it's also weird that the beginners also are wearing like oversized
yeah,
stuff. You know what I mean?
yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy because you look like people like they're like a fucking drowning dog, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
Yeah, they think like
the-
if I buy a triple XL, I'm triple XL myself as well.
yes, yeah, mate.
Oh,
It's
gotta
it's
love it.
crazy, man. I remember God, it's such a different era. Like when I first started, it's crazy because I was wearing like these fucking stringer vests and shit,
Yeah.
you know?
The gold gym ones,
Yeah,
stuff like that. Yeah,
yeah.
man.
I was
Yeah,
wearing that,
100%.
and then yeah, I get to a point where like I do not want to wear a vest at all. Like, and people, I remember a guy coming up to me in the gym. It's like, I've noticed like you never wear shorts or a vest. It's like, what's going on? Like, have you got a big scar or something? Like, I'm like, no, I don't know. I just like dressing in a way that makes me look like I don't lift
Yeah,
for
that's
some
that,
reason.
that's me, man. Like I've got shorts and I try to wear them more often than I used to do
Mm,
because of that reason. Like get out of the comfort zone. Like
yeah,
you can wear them, but I'd rather wear with joggers with 26 degrees outside, training legs
yeah,
when it's like 26 degrees outside and maybe inside as well. Like that's crazy. I don't and
yeah.
because I'm just not comfortable in shorts anymore.
Yeah, and it's crazy how that goes. And it's like I don't know. I like covering up because as well you can just focus on doing the thing, right?
That
And
as
you're not,
well.
especially in the off season. If I'm wearing
Yeah.
anything that is tight or is revealing, I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna feel like I'm suffocated, right?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I don't know. I suppose it's like a bit of a balance in it. But I think if you're getting to that point, the people that are listening, where you notice yourself going more and more into that, the more you feed it and try to cover yourself up, you want to sort of go, hey, and grab it and challenge the narrative in your brain a little bit and go, hey, I'm going to get my tits out today, and expose myself. Don't actually do that, but just,
Great tips,
actually,
great tips.
no, but just like, hey, don't how's about just show a bit of your physique, right? And just be comfortable and try not to let yourself spiral with, you know, being ashamed is something that you're working incredibly hard on and
Yeah.
probably got great results with as well. You know, it's okay to be proud of yourself. That doesn't mean that you're arrogant. You know, I've met people with the body of a Greek god, and they hate how they look, and I'm like, wow, that's fucked, isn't it? What's the point in going to the gym then?
Yeah, well, what you more often see with those people is that when they did not lift yet, they had nothing to be ashamed of for themselves.
Yeah,
Like some people, they say they're got more confidence going to the gym. And I can be very honest about this. I don't care. Like for me, it's the other way around. Like I think I was too confident before I started going to the gym. And that just gradually went downwards. The longer I go to the gym, actually, the longer I trained, I got less confident about about my physique because
yeah.
you get so conscious about your physique as well. You know,
You do, because you've looked at it in a way that you've never looked at it before. And
exactly.
again, this is where you can overthink yourself to your own detriment. Again,
Yeah.
you know, like we were saying with training, you can do it with your own physique, and you start like this needs to be a bit bigger, and before you know it, you've absolutely annihilated yourself with criticism to the point where, and if you're constantly looking at yourself as well, you could just fuck your head up. Whereas before, when you're not doing that, that's ignorance is bliss, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
it is. So you got to find a balance with that. I just recognize that it's not that deep. This is why again, you've got to detach yourself from your physique enough because to actually enjoy it
Yeah.
and go, hey, maybe you wake up and you feel a little bit soft, a bit fluffy, or a bit small. Okay, say that is the case. So what? Right?
Let's get
Are you
in the gym and do something about it.
Yeah, like it's not the end of the world. The fact of the matter is, it's probably in your head. You
Yeah.
are probably overthinking it. Your physique has not disappeared overnight. Don't deep it too much. I like ask yourself, are you doing? It would be a very different story if you woke up and you're feeling fluffy and small and you haven't gone to the gym, you've ate shit. But if you're doing everything you're supposed to and you notice yourself and you're like, okay, but I'm doing everything I can to literally improve my physique. This is, yeah, that's it. That's all you do. That's more than most people are doing for their physique, right?
Yeah.
We
True.
we got another question, but the question is kind of weird. But no, have you ever tried peptides like Red 140 or MK677? And if so, are they worth a go?
So,
Something
pretty sure that's like a song.
Yeah,
was
right.
what
I
I
was
was like.
thinking like red and MK aren't even peptides if I'm well, red
No,
I don't know for sure, but MK is a song for sure.
Yeah,
yeah,
Red 140 as
MK's,
well.
yeah. So SARMS I haven't tried. I think they're like they've people don't do them anymore, right? I don't
I
think they
don't think
do.
so.
I think enough research has come out now where people are these are actually still bad for you. These aren't better than steroids.
Mm.
So SARMs I don't do. Peptides, obviously that's like a brand new sparkly thing. There's a bunch of peptides coming out now.
Yeah.
That's something I'm exploring now currently to understand it, to help me again be a better coach. And that's the interesting thing with coaching people is these people are going to ask about things like Reta, you know, the GLPs, and people are going to ask about what type of things that they could do, and I want to be able to help educate them on that. So at the moment, I am trying peptides. The ones that I'm trying now. I'm going to do it in stages, so I'm not throwing the kitchen sink at it
That's way.
because you won't know what's working,
Yeah.
right? And it probably you could probably damage the cell, the mitochondrial, by doing that.
Yeah.
So I'm trying Reta, and fuck me, that works very well. Don't know how I feel about it yet. Still early days. I tried a low dose of like 2 milligrams, but I I did it daily jabs, like I split it to daily jabs, so it
Oh
wasn't
yeah.
like whoa. And then I noticed on the third or fourth day leading up to it, I was like, oh, I actually cannot eat.
Really?
On that,
I wish I had
yeah,
that, man, with 2 milligrams. Like
yeah, I
man, my appetite, it's crazy. And
brilliant. That's
how mu-
cool.
yeah, that's cool if the food was up to the appetite. But I'm
Yeah.
currently my highest day is 4,300 calories,
Oh
and
wow.
my training days, that's on leg days, and then the medium days are 4,000, and resting days are 3,700.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'm still
But again,
progressing on that, so there's no need to escalate in it. But my
yeah,
hunger is already at 6K calories, you know?
yeah. Which is
So,
which is beneficial. It is. It means that your body's in a
yeah,
great place.
absolutely.
It's wanting to go to the direction. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing. The hardest part of this process, and it took a while to get to this point where this was the case, is the off season when you're force feeding and just you're at the peak of it. You've got all these calories to eat, and you don't want to eat any of them. That's how I feel now on Reddit.
Yeah.
Not that bad because the peak osses you also feel like you're like 500 pounds as well, and struggling to put on your shoes and shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's I'm finding with Rete, it's like I say, it's new, but I want to still keep a bit of that hunger there. But in case I do want to increase my food, there's that buffer, and I don't want to fight to eat, especially in a cut. I think a little bit there. Obviously, I understand what you were saying. When you're completely ravenous, it's distracting. It's not. It doesn't feel great if that's a constant thing, and you're not even in like it deepen into a diet for sure. Um, but yeah, I can see how that's effective. I want to understand the parameters and if I am going to use that as a tool with myself and how I would do that. I would probably, for myself, at least put it a bit into the diet when I've established a really good amount of hunger there initially. Uh, Clo is another one I'm using just to see if that helps me keep resilient and I can train like a psychopath.
So
That,
you
that
use Glow or Glow?
Clo, Clo. So
Okay, yeah.
yeah, you for people listening who aren't sure, it's the BPC 157, the TB 500, often referred as the Wolverine stack. Great for healing and recovery. Then you've got the GHKCU, and that's great for skin. And you've got KPV, which acts as another anti-inflammatory. And this is it can help just again keep you a bit more resilient, feeling a bit younger as well, which is important if you're constantly battering your body. It sort of fights against that. But there's loads, right? You could talk all day about it. But they're the ones that I'm sort of trying at the moment, the SLU. I'm not sure if you guys have heard it.
Yeah, SAUPP.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So you
I've, I
puppy.
yeah. I tried that last year. I started that, well, I tried that last year. I thought that was pretty cool. Um, Again, these things, little tools, just like assistants. A lot of people will, like, some people use Retta and go, huh, this is going to do my diet for me. They'll literally use that to fucking escape any feeling of
But
hunger.
that is how it's getting marketed at the moment, of
Yeah,
course. Like, and that's the same thing with SARMS actually. These things, they all have their time and their place to be utilized within a cycle, an off season or a prep or whatever phase you're in. But the thing is that how they market it is that, like you said, SARMs were marketed as the new steroids without jeopardizing your health, which
yeah,
they obviously are not. Um, and and right now, some peptides are marketed as the holy grail, and you know, the yeah, I mean, you're exercising while sitting on the couch. I mean, That's
Yeah.
that's never how it's going to be,
There's
man.
honestly, there's something that fucks me up that I've noticed about like when I've taken Retta so far. I'm like, and I'm missing that hunger, and I'm not feeling hungry, right? And I'm thinking I could really see how people who aren't used to dieting, this will just destroy what they could gain from the challenge, right? Because being hungry is great for being productive. You know, you're gonna find ways to keep yourself distracted. Like we're supposed to, as a naturally in nature, we're supposed to be hungry so
Yeah,
we could
of
go out,
course.
hunt, be ambitious and motivated.
Yeah,
If we're overly saturated, we're going to be complacent, and it's going to, the domino effect of that is not going to be fantastic for sure. But also, much like with SARMS, we don't know the long-term effects of
exactly.
peptides, especially with loading them up, loading the mitochondrial the way that we're doing. Because like I'm picturing something in my head, like I Am Legend, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Where like we all turn into zombies,
yeah.
everyone who's like been taking peptides and shit further down the line. Like there might be some shit down the line where we're like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah. But
Apparently there is a price to having no appetite and
I
enjoying the
think
diet.
red eye is actually one of those things because for to start off with, like it works fantastically. Like you said, there's a lot of food noise reduction. You will have less or less quicker less quick of digestion, so you're more saturated during the day. But what a lot of people forget about is that also it if you take too much of it, it can actually also negatively affect your muscle gains because it will use the glycogen your muscle needs as fuel. And yes, you will lose weight, but you will lose the wrong weight. That in
Yeah,
combination with the fact that you're barely getting 1,000 calories in a day because you're just not fucking hungry,
yeah,
you
exactly.
just have a recipe for disaster for your body there. And that's exactly what a lot of people don't know. Like they just hear like, oh, red eye, I'm gonna lose weight. Yeah, you're gonna lose weight, but at what extent? It's not losing weight is not the same as losing fat.
No, that's it. That's it. And when I lost my appetite fully on Retta, I was looking at food and I'm like, do I really need to eat this?
Yeah.
I know I do, right? But that's how I felt about it. I'm like,
Yeah.
I feel like I don't need to eat this food, which I do because I'll starve to death. But it's it's crazy because I can understand how people can literally starve themselves and make themselves malnourished
Exactly.
from this. This is like I'm talking about the general person. And these people are self-administering it, right? How
Yeah.
crazy. And that's going to lead. Rat is the first JLP where bodybuilders have used because that's the one least likely to actually, um, burn through muscle, right? And cause you to a trophy, essentially.
Yeah.
Um, but again, you're seeing bodybuilders prep with it now, and they are having issues on stage with the stomach,
Of
with the
course. Yeah,
digestion,
of
and
course.
stuff like that. So, yeah, there are prices to everything. Even like the fact that retin can increase your heart rate. People are noticing that they're not sleeping on that. So imagine you're not eating, you're not sleeping, and your heart rate's elevated all the time. So the amount of stress you're putting on your system, right? Um, yeah, there's a recipe to
That's
be
it.
a
And
skinny
that
bitch.
and that's what I said. Like it's marketed the wrong way. Like there's never something you put into your body which is completely without any risks at all. It just doesn't exist yet. And
Yeah.
maybe it will at some day, but at this point, there's just not something that does not have any negative effects
Mm.
if you overuse it, for example. Or yeah,
Yeah, but I do think it is a lot better than what bodybuilders have done in the past, right? There is the other
absolutely.
side of it, right? Because the bodybuilders have done some dumb shit to get in shape.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
like you just smash your shitloads of DNP, and fucking all types of
Oh,
stuff.
that's not fun, man.
Yeah, man.
That's not fucking fun, man.
That's also the other end of the scale, right?
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
people are like, Retta is scary. Or like, I don't know why people use Retta to get into shape, and then you've got people who will literally, live off thyroid medication.
yeah.
Um, it's like, trends a lot worse, right? We've again, bodybuilders have done some dumb shit. So if we can find something less dumb, that's an improvement.
Absolutely. And don't get me wrong, like I mean that it's not a bad thing to utilize peptides or anything in
Mhm.
that case, but I think it's important that people know what they're doing
A
and
100%. I think what the takeaway, what people should acknowledge is this is new, don't know the long-term effects,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
There's still a lot to learn from it. Again, what I'm doing now is to learn about it from an anecdotal because again, there's just simply not a thorough amount of information.
Yeah,
I mean, you also want to really understand as much as you can of why you are taking it, for what benefit, and to what extent you're going to take it. Because if someone's like, "Oh, I want MOTS for insulin sensitivity," and they start loading that up, right? You're like, okay, well, think about what you're doing, right? Well, because if you're doing that and you're eating like shit, that's pointless.
yeah.
You know what I mean? You've got to use these things to, like with anything, right? Outside of training, nutrition, recovery, you've just got to use these things to help. But the main shit's got to be the hard shit.
Yeah.
It always is. There is no way to escape that. It's always going to be the hard shit.
You
It's
you said
one of
you
those.
sorry, Samuel, go ahead.
I'm not gonna name a person, but there is a person that went pro, who was very young at Classic Physique last year. He was on, what did he say, Robin? 6 mix of Reta a
No,
week,
it was 7 max of Reda.
7 mix of Reta, Ozempic,
Oh,
and what the one more, I think.
Yeah, I think
I didn't realize there was a list.
There was a fucking list, man.
Okay.
yeah, but it was kind of needed. Like it's a very good guy. He turned pro at his first after his first prep. It's a very good guy, but he just before that he always just did if it fits your macros. He never
Listen,
really had a strict meal plan, and he had difficulties with that. So he was from six. He was already ready at 6 weeks out. But
Yeah.
he binged like every week, and he still got ready on time. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, yeah, they utilized Reda and semaglutides to control his hunger, and food noise and cravings. It still didn't work for him. Um, but yeah, it's also like you said, like they pulled it out or they kept it in a little bit longer, so he was having some issues with loading as well.
Yeah. Yeah. You are going to have that. And I think that, so a couple of things to keep in mind, right? Because I like to be objective with seeing both sides.
Yeah, of course.
Um, so on one side, there is going to be a genetic difference with how high someone's appetite goes, the hunger that they feel, and the pleasure that they have from food.
Yeah,
There are going to be some people who are like, oh, dieting's easy, but they're not particularly a hungry person, or they're not massively like some people will eat food and it will be like crack to them, right? So
yeah,
there's going to be a difference. And there's been excellent bodybuilders that couldn't quite get into shape. Um, and this could be something that helps fix that, right? That could be the way to end that barrier. But at the same time, potentially this individual, again, I don't know this person, but potentially this individual could have benefited with trying to find out what's triggering them to binge through a prep and finding a way to make it to correct that behavior, so they're not relying so heavily on multiple GLPs. So that, because it will probably be better from a mindset perspective, but also from a physique perspective as well. Because if you, like I say, if you can master the hard shit and use as little assist, like just as much as assistance as you need for your physique, not your mind, for your physique,
Yeah.
you're going to have a better result that way. I believe that anyway.
Yeah, but we also need to keep in mind, like this, he started training 4 years ago.
Yeah.
This was literally his first prep ever. Never really had a meal plan, just did if it fits your macros. So of course it's the prep is, you know that as well, that your first prep is going to be far from perfect.
For sure.
Yeah.
But I think what gets taken away with the GLPs is obviously, as we said, right, first prep, horrible, right? We did some
Yeah.
fucking horrible shit. But from that, we still had to do the horrible shit and experience it and feel it.
Yeah.
From that itself, it makes the future preps easier.
Very much true. I had one more question. I heard you saying that you use Clo. Do you really feel any benefits from the mix of that because of the different pH levels in the different compounds that's mixed in the Clo?
Yeah, see that's the interesting thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, these are all stacked together. So obviously it's early days for me. I literally started that
Okay.
earlier in the week, so I'm not expecting big boys popped up here somewhere, the big spot there.
Yeah, yeah. So obviously not working yet.
So obviously I'm gonna fucking get a refund. But again, it depends on what you dose it at. I'm not taking anything crazy. I'm not wanting to go woo. But still early days. Will it work? We'll see. I'm not expecting anything groundbreaking. Again, some people will go, "Hey, I'm taking Clo. It's got all this stuff in, so I'm going to train like a dick. Oh, I'm still sore. The Clo's not working." I suppose it's probably something little in the background that you're going to notice. To be
Yeah.
fair, I've known people run for really noticeable effects, large amounts of these single compounds.
Yeah.
Like people have noticed really great benefits with the skin when they're running like 5 milligrams of GHK. But trying to do that with Clo, then you'll be rinsing yourself, you know? So if you really wanted to get a benefit from one, and take it at a higher dose, then you probably wanted to have that individual peptide rather than the stack. I think the stack is just like a nice little thing in the background
Yeah. Could be.
to help add a little percent.
Yeah,
So-
and nobody still knows, of course, but there's a lot of controversial about these different peptides having different pH levels, which counterfeits each other in that. But I think it's like you said, like it's probably when you have that mixture, it's going to do a little bit on the background. And when you really have a full benefit of the compound itself, let's just take the product itself and utilize that. Last question. It's a question we like to ask every guest at the podcast, and that's basically because that's the real idea of our podcast is, like I said, it's seeing who's behind the physique. So that question is it's very simple to ask. It's a lot harder to answer. But if bodybuilding would fall away tomorrow, who then is Jack Richardson?
Um, hmm, good question.
Thank you.
Someone who enjoys the pursuit of progression, right? Like I said, when I first got into this, it was more so how to channel the pursuit of progression into something. Like
Yeah.
bodybuilding was the conduit for that, right? So I enjoy the ability to progress myself in there and challenge myself in every way. Again, that's like one of the incentives behind self-coaching is to just make things harder than they need to be. But try to grow from that. So I'd like to think of someone who, like, I like to think of someone who tries to evolve as much as they can and be a better person in every regard. So, say if I couldn't channel that so much in my physique, I would have to find another way. Maybe it's intellectually, maybe it's through like challenging myself through, I don't know, my fitness or sprinting or whatever the fuck it is, physically, mentally, spiritually. If you believe that, it's finding the way to be a better person, and then by the time you become that person, beat them to death with the new version of yourself, right? Constantly
Cool.
keep raising the bar of it's fulfilling your own potential, right?
Yeah.
Be the best person you possibly can be, rather than just going, hey, you have people who go, I'm a 10, and they've done no work on themselves. And it's like, you don't know how much more you could be as a person. And
Cool, man.
that's the shame.
This
Cool.
is
But yeah,
also why your was on your shirt, like progressive. That's your brand, right? Or your
yeah, Progressive State, that's my brand. Yes, so I've got a place on school. It's my coaching brand as well. It's where I coach people. Going to be doing some good stuff with that. But it's, yeah, I'm passionate about progression with myself, but of course, other people passing that down to other people. And just, yeah, I think it's really cool to, again, be your full potential and be something awesome. But
Cool.
yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on. It's been an
Absolutely.
absolute pleasure to talk your ears off.
Yeah, it was a very good conversation. Thank you for the insights you gave us. Thank you for being open about anything we've talked about today. For anybody that watched the podcast still here, thank you as well. Like, subscribe, share, do whatever you can to support us so we can keep inviting guests like Jack and give you guys something to laugh about and to learn. Jack, tell them where can they find you if they haven't already.
Yeah, so on Instagram is probably the best place. It's at Jack Richardson _ IFFB Pro, I think. And I think if you type my name on YouTube, you'll be able to find my account there. It's me in a thong. You know, that's how you know it's me. It's a guy with a tan with a thong, and yeah, name Jack Richardson. That's how you know you found me.
Nice. Nice. All right. Great. Thanks again. And everybody, thanks for watching. Till next time.
Awesome. Thank you very much.